Hi guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. And in this video, we are going to solve another lead code problem. And this problem is problem number 2358, maximum number of groups entering a competition. Alright, so it's a medium problem. Basically, it is an easy problem only, but they have given it a medium tag. So you can read this question. I have given the link of this question down in the description below. So you can click on the link and read this question. So first of all, let me explain the question to you. So what we are doing here is we are given a array, okay, called grades, and let me see what is the example. 10 6 12 7 3 5. 10 6 12 7 3 5. 10 6 12 7 3 and 5. Okay, so they have given us this array and they want us to and actually this array represents grades of the students. Okay, so there are so in this array there are 6 students, and these values represent their grades, and they want us to divide this array into as maximum number of sub array maximum number of groups as possible. And the criteria of dividing this array is that first of all, each ith ith group should be sum of basically sum of ith group should be less than sum of I plus 1th group. This is one criteria, and the second criteria is mm, yeah the number of elements in ith group should be less than number of elements in I plus 1th group. So these are the two criteria. Now, uh, looking at the problem, it seems like it seems like a tough, like yeah, medium level problem, but it is let me assure you, it is not. It is a really easy problem. So what we are really going to do is uh, it is saying sum of ith group should be less than sum of ith minus 1. So the first thing that comes in our mind, that let us sort this group. Okay, so uh, what it will look like after sorting the array, it will look like something like this, right? 3 5 7, then what comes, then comes 10, and then 12. Okay, so right, no, there is another, right? 6 6. Okay, so after sorting the array, it looks something like this, right? Now what we can do, so we need to divide it into as maximum number of groups as we can, right? So this is the best thing to sort the array, and so that the first group will be this, right? Only one element. So group 1 will contain 3, group 2 will contain 5 and 6, since the number of elements is 1 here, number of element here is 2. Group 3 will contain 7, 10 and 12, and number of element is 3. So as you can see, the number of element in ith group, so if it is I, then this is I plus 1, right? So number of element in ith group is greater than number of element in ith group, I plus, sorry, number of elements in I plus 1 group is greater than number of element in ith group, right? So one criteria is satisfied, and the other is the sum. So yeah, as you can see, since we have already sorted it, so sum of 3 will always be less than sum of 5 plus 6, right? And the same goes for this. This becomes I plus 2, right? So yeah, so these are the two criteria, and as you can see, we can simply do this. Now the thing to consider here is, do we really need to sort this array? While as we saw, like, we sorted the array and we are like able to deduce that yeah, we can do these things and we can get our answer. But if we sort it, our time complexity becomes big of n log n, right? But if we think, we can do it without actually sorting the array, because we know that this criterias will hold true for all the arrays, because we can sort every array, yeah, right? We can sort every array that we are given. So this criteria is going to hold true for all those arrays. So without even sorting, we can divide it into groups. How? We can simply create a group like this, right? We can consider that all the arrays that we are given, we can sort it. So basically in this question, we actually don't require the values of these, we don't even require the value of these grades. We only require the number of elements in this array. So in this case, the number of elements is 6, right? Number of element is 6. So how can we create groups? We can create a group of length 1, we can create a second group of length 2, we can create a third group of length 3. Now after creating these groups, the sum becomes 1 plus 2 plus 3, and it becomes 6. Can we create any more groups than this? No, right? Because 6 is the maximum number of elements that we have. We cannot create more groups than this. So this is basically our answer. So if we are given, suppose, a grade array, suppose we are given a grade array which contains just two elements, right? So our first group will be of length 1, our second group will be of length 2. But now 1 plus 2 becomes, let me write it here, uh, yeah, 1 plus 2 becomes 3. But since the size of this array is 2, can we create two groups of length 1 and 2? We cannot create that. So the maximum number of groups that we can create here is one only. We can create only one group of size, you can say, 2. We have to take both these elements into one group, right? So the this is the explanation. I hope you are getting it now. Yeah, this is all it is. Now let us uh, solve this problem, like write the code for it. Okay, so again let me show you what we are going to do here. So what we basically need is, if we are given array of size 6, then we can create three groups, 1 plus 2 plus 3. If we are given array of size 5, we can create 1 plus 2 plus 3. No, we cannot create the third group, so we can create only two groups here. Again, if we are given a array of size 4, then we can create 1 plus 2. Again, we can create only two groups. If we are given an array of size 3, we can create 1 plus 2. Yes, we can create that. So yeah, now if we are given an array of size 2, we can create only one group, because 1 plus 2, it becomes greater than 2. So yeah, this is the thing. So this is what we are going to do. Now let me write the code for it. So I'm going to take two values, I and j, and I'm going to store it. Take another variable n, grades dot size, and basically I'm going to count the number of groups only. So uh, I'll run this loop while I is less than n, and uh, yeah, let me, yeah. So initially our let me take this as uh, this as 1, right? So initially we'll make one group, right? So j represents the groups and I represents the number of elements in that group. And let me take another variable result where I'm going to store the result. Okay, so I'll take a bound for I, so I can go from till bound. So another loop where I is less than n. Yeah, it should be always less than n because there are only n elements. And I should also be less than bound because since we want to create maximum groups as possible, so we want the number of elements in each group should be like minimum. Okay, so this is our main thinking. So if we take the number of elements to minimum, we can create many groups as possible, right? So yeah, so now we'll just uh, do I plus plus. And similarly, now if our I is equals to bound bound, then we are going to increase our result, and then we are going to increase our j by 1. So initially the size of our first group is 1, which is j. Size of our second group will be 2. So since j represents the size of our group, let me actually write it size of group. Okay, size of group and size of group. All right, so I think this should work. Return result. Okay, yeah, it's working. So that's that's my solution. So hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye, thank you.